not because they're broken a lot of the time, but because they're worn. So to me, that's unnecessary waste. It's unnecessary cost and unnecessary carbon. So by repairing instead of replacing, we're helping NHS trusts reduce landfill, cut procurement costs, and work towards their the net zero targets without compromising on things like infection prevention, infection control, safety and quality. So today what I wanted to do is I just wanted to give you a brief overview of who we were and show you how this approach is already working across the NHS, the tangible impact it's having, and how we can help you guys achieve your sustainability goals. So my aim isn't just to talk about upholstery, it's to show you a smarter, greener and more cost-effective way forward. Now, we have been working with the NHS probably for around 18 months now, slowly but surely, and we've started with our we wanted to start with our local trust, which is the East Lancs Trust. So we've been doing a lot of case building for the last 12 months on the work that we've been doing there. Now we have subsequently now we're working with over 22 hospitals now. So it's the word is getting out, which is really, really good to hear. So hopefully we can help you guys as well. Currently, we did a little bit of a testing process at the East Lancs Trust, where over a 6-month period, we noted down every item that that was going to be sent to landfill, where we could come in and repair them. And what I'm going to do, if you don't mind, am I all right to just share my screen really, really quickly? Would that be all right with you guys?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Please go ahead.
No problem. I'll just share that now. Hopefully you can see this, and I'm going to give you an indication so it puts things in perspective. If I can figure out how to do that. Let me see. Can anybody see it?
Not yet.
Not yet. Let's see. I'm sorry, I can't figure out how to do this. No, it's not working properly. Everybody see this now?
Yeah.
Yes, that's great.
So Mark Riley kindly, who is the sustainability, well, he's the facilities manager at the East Lancs Trust, so we've been working with him for a long period of time. So I've put together here, or Mark has kindly put together a project detail expenditure summary. So as you can see, obviously company upholstery to you. All of the items that we've repaired are on the service tab. The quantities of items are here. Description of what we've repaired, and then the most important thing here for me is how alarming this is. So Mark's kindly gone through all of the items to find out how much you would pay to replace these types of items, and then obviously next to that is our costs, which we've charged the East Lancs Trust to come and replace them, and you can see the savings in yellow at the end. So I'm just going to scroll down to the bottom now to give you guys a really good indication of what we've been able to save them in just a short period of time. So the cost for new was 74,000. The cost to repair rather than replace was 25,982. So the savings for the trust just in upholstery alone in a very short period of time have been over £48,000, which I just think is crazy money. So there's not really much more I really want to go into. I think it really speaks for itself, does the figures, and I hope you guys will be able to get on board with us. And if you guys have got any questions, please feel free to ask.
How far south can you come? That's the first question. Sorry.
You're okay. Sorry, I missed the question.
Sorry. How far south can you come, Michael?
We cover the full UK, so don't worry about that.
Excellent.
We actually, I mean, I've only given you an indication of upholstery to you from the NHS perspective. We were actually born 3 years ago now. We started, and we've primarily focused on the gym industry. We actually currently work in 8 countries doing this right now. However, we don't do that for the NHS, as you know. So yes, don't worry about the south of the country. We've got you covered.
Lovely. And I suppose I'm thinking, well, do you need like a minimum, minimum number of items or minimum cost to do a visit?
No, we don't. We don't.
Okay.
And this is the beauty about what we do. What we've the NHS is a little bit of a funny one for us as a customer of ours. Everybody works in different ways. So we try to adapt as much as physically possible to each individual trust and how they want us to operate. So some trusts will, I've just lost my train of thought now. Remind me of the question, Lucy. Sorry, say that again.
So I guess it was, is there like a minimum charge or a minimum number of items that you would come out for?
Yeah, so essentially what I was trying to say there is, obviously trusts work in different ways. Some people will just do them as the best way to do it for me is to go, we do one bulk visit and we do everything as quickly as we physically can to get it up to a real standard, and then we maintain. That would be the best way to do it, because it doesn't matter if you've got one medical couch, we'll come right out to you and do that, and you'll still see a huge cost saving.
I think just a quick one on that one as well. So I'll be looking after you guys if you do decide to come on board with us. I think my key thing that I say, because obviously I deal with a lot of trusts that deal in a lot of different ways. It's all about finding the way that works best for you guys and your hospitals. My aim is to find the quickest and easiest way to do that for you, but also the most cost-effective way. So if you guys do come on board, then it's going to be a lot of case of working together and find out what really is going to work best for each of your individual trusts. Obviously, we've got different amounts of hospitals, different requirements, and it's really just tailoring that to, rather than sort of blanket approaching it all, it's tailoring that to what you need at that time and how we can make that as easy as possible and put as much pressure on me as possible to alleviate that from you guys. So however you feel is going to be the best way, and we'll work together. And it's like we have done with other trusts. Sometimes you change it 6 months in, but it's really just going to be a case of sort of ascertaining what your best way of working is, and then me doing the work to make sure that we can facilitate that for you.
Right, thank you.
So hi, sorry, I'm just wondering if you do you have to work through the procurement, or which department should we be contacting to put in touch with you if we have equipment that we think could be repaired rather than chucked out?
Again, each trust works in different ways. So we have ward managers contacting us directly for their own ward budgets. We have facilities guys, we have waste guys, we have lots of different people, all in different parts of the building. That we're more than happy to speak to anybody as long as it's fine with you guys. We're all aiming to achieve the same thing. What we find is best is once this is rolled out throughout the trust, each individual ward and the ward managers are fully aware of the process. Do not throw any items, send it to us first. We will come back to you immediately and tell you whether we can fix that item. We will also be very clear and say, unfortunately, you are better off purchasing new on this occasion because wheels are damaged or there's an electronical problem or whatever that may be. So we won't waste your time with things like that. So it really doesn't matter. It all depends. It's comfort for you guys, wherever you think is best.
So do you repair, you take everything away and repair it in your workshop and then bring it back, or how does that work?
So everything's done on site. So we have mobile workshops up and down the country. They're all strategically placed to ensure that we are not driving 4.5 hours, 5 hours just to get to. So don't worry, because I can probably see that ticking in your brain. So our guys are, we're adding as we go. Currently within an hour's radius of any one time. Obviously sometimes it could be 5 minutes away from you guys, but we work into an hour's radius. We're looking to shorten that to 45 minutes, and we're really working hard to do that over the next few years. However, our guys will come directly to you. The items will then be taken into the mobile workshop, done there and then put back on the ward. So to give you an example, a 3-section couch, if left in situ, our guys will turn up. They'll take that into the back of the van. They'll repair that. They'll put that back. Probably takes 35 minutes.
That's fantastic. That's really fantastic.
And saves you on all the, obviously, the big skips that I'm pretty sure you're all used to seeing outside the back of the hospital. And then you're having to pay for people to come and do that, especially with POPs now. Again, that's another additional cost that you guys are probably coming up against. So we cover all them bases. And I personally think the NHS has to get behind this. So just to give you some clarity on that, I have personally had a meeting with NHS England and the head guys there who were blown away by our service. So they did say that they was going to put things out to the trusts. Whether they do, I'm not too sure. And we have also we're very, very close. The one thing that they did say to us were, you're probably better off going on a framework. And I know that will be a question from somebody else, so I'll attack that now. We are currently in the process. They are they're actually designed a completely new framework just for us, so that we can apply for the framework, and then we'll have a framework agreement and things will be able to run through that. Now, the reason we're doing that is because we have people like the Manchester Trust who are wanting to get big renovations done over 6 to 7 floors, which will obviously take it over a large amount of money. You can't just get that on ward budgets. It'll probably come after central budgets, and unfortunately central budgets require framework agreements. However, for the time being, until that happens, we have no problems. We've had no problems working with NHS trusts just by operating on different budgets that they've got currently. Whether that's the correct way to go, I'm not too sure. However, just to give you a bit of an indication of where we are right now.
I would be really interested. I think it would be really useful to have the carbon savings as well as the financial savings. I think that would really and then you get the sustainability points,
Yeah, absolutely.
from all sides, that would be great. But and I don't know if there's any kind of like case studies of, you showed that really good spreadsheet, but it'd be really good to have those so that they could be on the NHS website and things like that.
It would, and I am no carbon genius, so in terms of working things out. Now, I have approached 2 or 3 different trusts to try and help me with this, to try and see what they will save. I also approached Mark, and again, couldn't give me an actual answer of what the carbon savings were. So if we do have any carbon specialists in this group, I would love to be able to try and work with you to figure this out, because it is huge. What I do know from the East Lancs Trust is the waste reduction over a 6-month period is 60% less than what it was prior to using it.
Because there's the cost of the individual item, isn't there? But like you say, there's also the cost of taking the waste away, the skips, the space that's taken up with storing broken equipment.
Yeah, and we know space is a luxury in the NHS, so we firmly believe to leave it in situ. Once we've come out, we've done our initial analysis, we get everything up to a standard where the NHS should be, and then we maintain that going forward. Everybody understands what they need to do. They report it immediately if it's starting to wear or tear. Obviously, before it gets condemned, we'll come out, we'll repair that. So as you can imagine, we've been signed off by IPC in plenty of trusts now, so you'll also have no problems with that.
Also, Ricky, Susanna Davis has just put in the chat there that we can contact climate stewards. They will help us be able to work that out. So that might be something for us to take away to try and get to that point.
Yeah, perfect. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
So do you want to talk a little bit more about that? That'd be really helpful.
Yeah, I mean, they're a great organisation that are based in the West Country, and they, if you look at their website, they've got lots of online tools for individuals to work out their carbon usage. But I've been talking to them about some project work, and they will consult into organisations and they will scope a project like yours, for example, and they will provide you with the support that you need, of course, for some at some cost, but they will do that. They've got all the experts within their organisation, and they will come back to you with a quote for that. And yeah, they're a fantastic organisation.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Can I ask a question? Actually, are you only NHS, or are you also working with the independent sector and the private hospitals? Because there's a huge amount of waste within the private sector as well.
There certainly is. We wanted to start with the NHS. The NHS was very close to me, to what I wanted to do, especially during COVID, when all I was hearing is we don't have enough beds, we don't have enough beds. I went into the East Lancs Trust and I was actually shocked to realise that actually they did have enough beds. Just talking that trust right now, but they couldn't be used. So again, we wanted to start there, and we wanted to make sure we did that right before we moved on to anything else. But we don't just cover just the NHS, we cover all sorts of different industries. So we do prisons, we do schools, we do lots of other industries. So private hospitals, again, no problems. it's getting the word out there from our perspective, which again takes time, and for getting people to realise who we are and what we do, and getting the time to get in front of these people at the private hospitals, to be able to show them just how much money and the benefit that we can add to them as well.
So does it help you if we send you some links then for that?
Absolutely, yeah. Anything that you guys can do to help us, with anybody that you know in other trusts, anybody that you know in private sector, please spread the word. I'm more than happy to jump on any other calls or go down and meet them should we need to.
There's a question from Nicola, who's an OT apprentice in Northamptonshire, who wants to approach our managers and said, how long were the £48,000 savings over? And do you have any information leaflet or anything? I've put the website in the chat.
Yes.
So
we do. We have a. Thank you for your question, Nicola. We do have a NHS brochure that we can send out to you guys. So I believe, Jacqueline, I don't know whether I've got all of the emails, but if I get all of the emails after this, I can send the brochure out to everybody so that you've got a clear indication, again, of what we've been over today. It will also show you some really good examples, Nicola, to show your managers. Of befores and afters of what we've actually done in trust with testimonials and things like that. So that'll be really good for you.
So maybe if anybody wants it, if they can put their email in the chat, or the best email in the chat, that would be great. Yeah, thanks, Marty.
Now everybody's busy typing their emails and can't multitask at the same time. Yeah, I was going to ask something similar. If there's kind of case study, like a case study format for like the Lancashire Trust that you've worked with, I think hospital managers always like to see who's already done it before, especially if it's in another NHS setting.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you guys are more than happy. We're more than happy to provide you with other references as well, should you need to. I know Mark gets bothered by a few NHS trusts asking for just to make sure that I am telling the truth. So you're more than happy to give him a ring. I'm sure he'll help you. I'm sure he'll obviously take your calls. So I can. We'll send
I'm happy to as well. If I put my email address in, because I know that some departments, and especially like sort of fire departments that you've got within your trust, will want more information about the quality of the materials and specs of the materials. So I'll put my email in the chat as well. If you've got any questions like that do pop up, feel free to fire them over. I'm happy to send you over the specs and any sort of things that you've got. But yeah, I know that kind of question does pop up as you start going through the process. So if we can try and get that sort of ironed out for you beforehand, that's great. But any questions like that, if you do have any questions that pop up after this call, you can either give me a call, schedule some time in, or send me over an email. I'm more than happy to address any questions that you've got as well.
Thank you.
Anybody got any other questions for me?
Just clarifying, you did say that chart was six months worth of
6
saving,
months,
right?
yes.
6 months.
I believe, yes.
I think, sorry, Michael, I think you said quite a lot about upholstery, but you said it's other equipment as well. What's the most unusual thing that you've been asked to repair?
We get all sorts of stuff. The Children's Hospital, recently, we get a lot of different items of furniture, as you can imagine. So we get lots of 3-piece couches. We get all sorts. So we get lots of things like that. We do obviously portering chairs, wheelchair, anything like that. Anything with upholstery on, we'll take a look at it for you, and we'll make sure that we can try and get that back in order. Obviously, if again mechanically. We would stay away from all of that. But general rule of thumb is the NHS look after the stuff. It's just the wear and tear of the materials. And as you guys know, you can't have them on the wards like that. So I think it'll put things in perspective when we send over the brochures to you to show you the types of items people are sending through most often. General rule of thumb, it's the medical couches that seem to be the big one for us. 3 sections, 2 sections.
Yeah, I'm thinking about therapies. Just in the therapies department, we have perching stools that, you know, the upholstery will get worn out, and we have like a saddle seats.
Yep.
Various, you know, those kinds of things often wear out. I actually recovered a perching stool myself.
Really?
In fancy, yeah, because it was for younger patients, so I've covered it in really fancy, colourful material. But I've now been told it doesn't meet infection control guidance because it's not
Did it look
properly
good,
wiped
though?
clean. So shot myself in the foot there.
Yeah, but again, these are things that we can do. So if you guys have got a bit of a project, and whether it is for younger people, and you do want some fancier materials or trying to make it more attractive for that age range, then we can certainly do things like that as well.
Just on that one, I've been working with the Manchester Trust at the moment, and they've got a department where they've sourced their own material because it's in an area where they have to deliver bad news. So the material that's been sourced meets the Crib 5 and Crib 7 standards, but it's not as daunting as a normal sort of waiting room kind of setting. So we can work together on that. We have thousands of different options in terms of material. So if you kind of work with me and let me know what you're looking for, I can then come to you with options and we can make sure that we get it right. But that's something that probably will go through more with me. But yeah, we've got loads of different options, loads of different reasons behind those options. And whatever happens, we'll make sure that we find the right one to suit what you're looking to do.
I really I was just thinking about when I work in a children's hospital, or worked in a children's hospital, and we had we got some of the kids to design their own gowns because they're stuck there for quite a long time, and I was thinking it would be quite. Do you have kind of children's like, would you have like pirates or like princesses or all that kind of stuff that you could put on some chairs and things? Sorry?
It's not an off-the-shelf product. That's
no.
There's definitely things that we can do to work with you on that for materials. We can always speak to our suppliers about getting these types. If the materials are out there, we'll be able to source them for you. Again, what we'll do is we'll come back to you and let you know. Some, if there is fancy things on there, again, that may affect costs somewhat.
Yeah.
But again, we can let you know that, and we can give you a clear indication of what it is to do that.
I was thinking it might persuade some people to get involved in therapy that they might not, or where they might not otherwise, if things look a bit more child friendly or like homely or whatever.
I think the big benefit that we've got is because of the work we do in the other sectors, we have really good relationships with our suppliers, and that's not just one, that's not just two. We have multiple suppliers that have loads of different options. So if there's an option there to do it, then we're the right place to look for to be able to get that done with the connections that we've got and the people that we work with. So I think it goes on a case-by-case basis, and we can always look at it and come up with the best option. But it's not the first time that I've been asked that, and we are looking at this with other trusts at the moment. Alder Hayes is one of our children's hospitals that we deal with. And it's something similar there. So it is something that we'll always look to work with you on, and whether we can get the exact option or whether we can just find something that we can do that with, we'll do that. But we have, I'd probably say, a very strong amount of connections with the providers that we have. They're constantly coming in for meetings and stuff. So if you give us the ideas that you're looking for, we can come back to you with costs and sort of a plan together, and then see where we go from there and what the best option for you will be moving forwards.
That sounds great. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah, do you ever come across stuff that you or the trust decide not to repair because of the cost, and then what happens to that?
That's a good question, actually, Susanna. It's not something that I'm aware would cost more. 99.9% of the time, it's always cheaper to repair rather than replace. The one things that we'll do, if it's a really fancy Chesterfield sofa with deep buttoning and lots of things like that, the time it will take our upholsterers to sit there and do that for you, you're probably better off buying a new one. We don't really tend to find many Chesterfields in hospitals with deep buttons, so it's not something we come across a lot. However, again, if we did come across them situations, we will be upfront and honest with you and give you. Again, it's not all about the cost. I know I tend to look at cost savings for the NHS Trust, but the sustainability piece on this even though it might cost slightly more, might be more beneficial for you to do as a trust, because it's reducing your carbon footprint, rather than throwing that thing out, getting a big skip, having to deal with all the aftermath of that, where we can repair and we can replace it.
Yeah, I was just wondering whether it might be useful for you to connect with Waste to Wonder, so that if there's ever a situation where there's a vast amount of equipment, say, or equipment that for whatever reason is then the decision is not to repair it, they're quite good at then reusing that somewhere else, usually somewhere else in the world. So that's their activity, if you like.
Okay.
And they do a lot around offices and commercial properties as well, if you ever wanted to get into that.
Residential, but commercial, obviously we do a lot. So again, Suzanne, if you can pop them in the chat, what we'll do is we'll get in touch with these guys, and anything that we can do to help, we will do.
There's also there's quite a few workshops in London, like the School of Stuff, and those kinds of places, which I don't know if it was a Chesterfield or a fancy piece of furniture that just takes too long, they might be willing to take things on as a project, or to teach students, upholstery skills.
Yeah, absolutely. Then again, if we've got relationships in place there, we can obviously offer the advice, and we can send them that and say, would you like to get involved and do it that way? Makes much more sense.
Yeah.
All finished?
I think there was just one I was going to ask. Annie, you put in the chat about the Welsh government's asking a question for feedback about initiatives that could reduce waste in healthcare. Do you want us to will they accept answers from people who aren't in Wales, or is that
I don't know. It came through. It's almost like it's a Microsoft Forms form, to be honest. So I don't see why it can come from anywhere. I can send you the link over. I got sent it through by the Green Group this week, and but it seems like a bit of a no-brainer, this, in terms of work. And it'd be great as well if you could potentially come to speak to our Green Group, because we obviously have people from all areas in that. That sometimes, as the OT, you're not the one who's listened to, but I think there's other people in that group who've got the influence that they could really push this forward.
Yeah. Again,
just
Annie,
a quick one with Swansea Bay. Are you part of the same trust as Singleton Hospital by any chance?
Yes.
Yeah, so we're actually already on board with Singleton Hospital. I've worked with L'Oreal from Singleton Hospital. We've done a bit of work down there. So if it's someone that you wanted to contact or
that'd be great.
Speak to, but I've done a bit of work with her on some jobs down there. So when I just saw Swansea, I thought it's not too far away. So it's L'Oreal Clark that we've done a bit of work for. She was my point of contact through that. Very happy with the work, but again, it just gives you a bit more solidarity to find out from other people in the trust that have done work with ourselves, how the process works, how it worked for them, and the benefits that they've seen. But as soon as I saw Swansea, I thought it might be worth just dropping that in, and just so you've got a point of contact there.
Fab. Thank you.
Do you know, have you done any work in Sussex?
Off the top of my head, I wouldn't be able to say yes. I'm sure we have, or if we've not, then we've been on calls and had this conversation. But it was just a Swansea one, because it was so recent that it was sort of fresh in my mind. And as soon as I saw the question, I thought, yeah, great. I know that we've done work down that way, and it surely can't be too far away from where you are.
Oh yeah. Surrey and Sussex, you said.
That's right. Yes, I'm Sussex. I will take it to the waste managers there and talk to them.
Actually, we did a job there in December last year.
Oh, really?
We did. I think the contact that we've got there is Michael Brownjohn.
I will make a note.
Michael. I believe he's the waste manager. So yes, we did a job there in. But this is the thing that happens. So a lot of the time. So we will do big Zoom calls like this. The guys will then utilize us. We'll come out. We'll do that, and then it just seems to not fizzle out, but it never comes through. Like some trusts really, really take it on and go with it, and we're there non-stop, once a month, twice a month, and some trusts it takes them a little bit longer because they're so used to throwing things out and getting that word around. And I know it's tough to try and change ways after we've been doing the same thing for years and years and years. But I think it's really time now that we do change the way that we're acting, especially when it comes to big pieces of furniture like this.
I think the real benefit that I've seen is once all of the ward managers are made aware to have that kind of mindset of let's always look to repair first. And I think that's the case of spreading the message out. I know that's worked for a lot of the trusts that I work with, spreading that message out throughout the trust, throughout to the ward managers, because they're the guys that are seeing it on a day-to-day basis. So I think getting that message across, that always have that mindset to look at the repair option first, is probably the key to trying to really make it work and really get behind it and actually start really seeing the benefits of what we can do in the process and how much simpler we can make it for you guys as well.
Yeah, I think that's So, sorry, Jackie. I was just going to say, I think that's right. I think it's what I was in terms of budgets in our trust. There will be a therapies budget. Each ward will have its own budget for equipment. There's lots of separate little pockets of budgets. There'll be the teaching centre will have its own budget as well. So I think I would speak to our Green Champions group and just let them know about you guys and what you do, and see if they can, because they come from all over the trust, lots of different departments, and then get them to individually go out and spread the word and just get you on the radar.
Yeah, perfect. And I think a lot of another good way that we've done it before is we ask the trust to literally get 2 or 3 items. There's always 2 or 3 medical couches in the trust that you can go and find, whether it's patient chairs or whatever it may be. Send ABS pictures of those. We'll get the costing from, and we'll use it as a test. Get the full trust there, knowing exactly when we're coming, exactly what we're doing, and we'll come and repair these items. You guys can take a look in our mobile workshops. You can literally see it happen there in front of your eyes and put back on the wards. That is the best way for them to realise just what they've been doing is completely wrong, and this is what we should be doing. So I think it's a very good way to go about that.
Yeah,
but it's just a starting point.
Yeah, and I think I was very interested in your saying about having the infection control on your side, because I have so many battles with infection control about chairs. I'd just love to know how many people actually get infected from chairs. But anyway, there's I was like, so do you have did you you've said that you've worked with them and it's been fine, and I guess challenging each separate infection control department might be might be different.
I mean, obviously we're working, our guys are all really talented upholsterers, and we've worked, again, this is the reason why we started slowly with the NHS, to make sure that we do everything the way that infection control wanted it to look and wanted it to feel. Obviously for spillages and things like that, it's very important that these are done correctly and properly. One thing that we did do, that infection, to be fair, I don't know how infection control actually approved the medical couches, but the black felt at the back, and you'll probably see them all flaking all over the floor constantly, and everyone's trying to clean it up. We've completely eradicated that. We will put material backs on everything. So it's little things like that. We've actually probably improved it as to where it was. So we've really gone above and beyond to try and make sure that it was right. We spend more time there on site. It costs us more money, but we'd rather do the right thing to make sure it's bob on. So every trust that we've worked with so far, the first thing that I always say is, look, use us for 2 or 3 items, use it as a project, which you can then get the budget and get the POs raised for. Then get IPC to come and check those items that you were about to throw in the skip, and that you've now, can we put these back on the ward? Once these guys have given you the green light, our process is good. You can explain how it's happened. Again, invite them to see us when we're on site, and then we can take it from there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any more?
I think you've answered lots of questions and got everybody scribbling away, thinking I'm going to contact these people.
Yeah.
So
No, I honestly, guys, I really appreciate your time. I know it's late, so I appreciate you having us on. But hopefully, this has been added value to you all, and hopefully, we'll get to speak to and see you all very soon.
Thank you so much for
Absolutely.
your time. We appreciate it.
As I've mentioned, my email's in the chat as well. So if any questions do pop up after this call, because I know what it's like, you get off a call and something pops in your head and you think, I should have asked that. Feel free to fire it over. I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you've got, give you any more extra information. You might speak to other departments that have a question that you may not have thought of. Everybody's mind works slightly different from different departments, which I'm fully aware of. So any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm only a message away or a call away, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you guys do have.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Abs.
I do
Thank
have
you,
one
Michael.
No problem.
Really quickly, I'm so sorry, Jacqueline. You're recording this, is that correct?
Yes, I'm going to stop now. Yes, sorry. Yes.
Right. Can I have a copy of that?
Yeah, sure. I'll probably upload it to our YouTube channel and then send you the link. Is that all right with you?
Absolutely fine. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Perfect.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thanks,
Been a
guys.
pleasure.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Have a good evening.
Thank
Bye.
you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
It looks like it's still recording at the moment.